cleansing breath. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this free episode of A Life Lived Trans podcast with your host, Marty P. That's me, and Lenny Z. That's him somewhere over there. And we're so excited to bring you weekly doses of wisdom from two old trannies. Yes, they make us say that. It's in our contract. I think it's that. I think that's elder abuse. From two old trannies who have seen it all before. Links will be in the description for our Patreon, where you can see us and help support our testimony. And listen to all the other episodes. Be sure to give us some 5 stars and leave us a comment, because the trolls are trolling in there. And it's like, take a look at some of those. It's like, please leave us some positive ones. If you're listening to our podcast, thank you, darlings. We'd also love to shout out our top level Patreons. If you would want to be featured on this list, register over at patreon.com/A Life Lived Trans and join as either a Beyond the Binary benefactor or a TS exclusive tier. That used to be my escort service, but that was the name of it. Just to know, with full access to all our episodes and to see our beautiful faces in our beautiful video episodes. And these are the ones. Oh my God, we have an Alexandra as a top tier. Yes, Billy, Ima, Zen, Jamie, and Petunia. Sending blessings, perfect skin vibes to you. Thank you. Love you guys. We hope. That's it. We are so excited that you have joined us today, because we are having our first guest, and we do not use this term lightly on this podcast. I don't think I've ever used it, but she is a true icon of our community. She's my inner child's best buddy, and she doesn't know it yet, and and we just love her. Everybody, Alexandra Billings. Yay. Hello, Alex.
Woo. Hi, kids. Oh, it's so good to be here.
Hi,
it's
Lenny.
so good to be. I'm so happy.
I know. I'm so glad you could make the time to be here. Oh my goodness! I just we've had such a lovely few minutes before the podcast started, and we're just like just start.
I know, we should have been rolling.
I know, just keep it rolling. Keep it rolling.
And then
so
fix
much
it in post, right?
And then good
fix
stuff.
It in post.
Good stuff.
Wouldn't it be great if life could get fixed in post? If you could just screw everything up and then go, you know what? We'll fix it in post. Wouldn't that be great?
We need a fix it in post squad or something. You know,
it's
just running around taking notes and stuff.
That runs behind everybody and fixes shit.
I know, we're getting old. We need those things. It's like, so please, if
Honey,
you can.
We need a lot of things. I need a walker. I need a new leg. I need an ankle.
I know. I need a new bathtub. I need an aging out bathtub. You know, we're trying to age out around here. Like we're trying to make everything. We're calling it age in place. Renovations. So, you really have to start to do that. So we come into this world, doing it baby proofing. And then as we start to circle the drain, we need to have those things in place too. Yeah.
Also, the interesting thing too, and we were talking a little bit about this before, is this generation, this queer generation that's our age is the first that is finally seen. Because all of our other queer generations just went away. They either died in the 1980s and 90s, or they were really never thought of because they had to live in stealth. And our boomer generation, the line of boomer generation, is the first one where we're being acknowledged. We're like, we actually get old. And that's sort of great for this younger LGBT these communities to see that we're here.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before, Marty, right? When Alexandra, you've probably had this comment as well. I am so grateful to know that I can live to your age. And that's why we're here, is to represent that we have had full, sometimes rocky, like all humans, lives, but we can age gracefully and graciously and joyfully. And that's what I think we're
Yeah, and hence the name of our podcast, A Life Lived Trans, because, you know, not too many of us have the privilege to have lived that to now. And you're right. It's like when I get those kids and parents in my comments just saying, "Oh my God, thank you for, you know, coming on to the internet," because it's like, you know, my grandpa's telling me that it's a new thing and it's because of the pandemic and it's because of the internet, and it never, because if it was, you know, if it wasn't, it's like you'd see all these old trans people before. And that's the reason why I went to my husband, hold my Diet Coke, and I turned on, I started a TikTok account and just went, hello, we're here. You know, oh my God, it's like they're gaslighting you. It's like the reason why we didn't exist is because, you know, most of us died, and the ones that survived, you know, can hardly, you know, most of my friends that have survived, like very few, you know, can hardly tie their shoelaces, let alone have a relationship with you, you know?
Yeah.
You know, I have to say something to you, girl, and I didn't say this before because I wanted to make sure that this was on the schmengi that we're taping. You know, I love social media. I have an addiction to it because it is a real portal for change and information. And it is because it's global. We're able to talk to people that we would never be able to talk to without this fantastic machine.
Yeah.
It also, like every portal, brings in things that are not healthy, that are unkind, and that can be detrimental. That's true of every opening. So when I found you, I don't do these pod things a lot. I really don't. But when I found you, I was in a really dark, especially for me, which is very unusual, place in my life. I was very sad, very upset, very confused. And I watched you daily. Every time I saw you, there was this radiant, absurd, don't get me wrong, light that emanated from you. And I was just talking to my wife about this in the kitchen because she's like, what is this podcast? And I told you who you were. And she was like, oh, that's so, like, because you're not on TV, you're not, you know, you have a presence in our community that needs to be known, that needs to be understood, that needs to be seen and honored. Because you are us. All of us belong in the same. I've just been incredibly lucky. That's the only difference between you and I. And lucky in the sense that I have a platform. But your platform is actually bigger than mine. It's true. You have reached across the trans spectrum. You've gone into the cis world. You've gone in, like, ethnicity doesn't matter and gender doesn't matter. You have crossed all kinds of boundaries. And I just want to say, from the trans community, period, forget being of a certain age, from the trans community, period, you are a blessing and a gift. And I consider it an honor to sit in your presence. I just wanted to say that to you.
Oh, you're so sweet, Alexandra.
It's the truth.
I feel the same. And, you know, Marty, I think we had a moment last week where we all felt very elevated because what she's been through, what we've all been through, and that we're still here and positive and not drowning in our own sorrows. I mean, Alexandra, you posted something earlier today or yesterday that was so uplifting and so, it reached through the space machine into my heart and said, you are valuable. I am glad you're still here. Hang in there, you know, that kind of thing. And you and Marty bring this elevated optimism to our existence, not just as trans people, but as humans. And I think I saw that when I joined TikTok in 2022 and saw Marty. I was like, who is that? I need to know this person. I jumped on her live, and then it turned out we had all this synergy with regards to the 80s and punk world and our early teens, and wow.
Performance stuff, yeah. I know, and when I...
Do either of you two feel... I know you're supposed to be asking me questions, but do either of you two... I'm interested in the two of you. Do either of you two feel... Because it's so rare that I get a chance to talk about this with people of my own generation.
Yeah.
But do either of you two feel that there is a giant gap, or a gap at all, between what we understand, our trans generation, and what the younger, and by younger I mean 20s and 30s, 20 and 30-year-olds, what that generation understands as the trans experience? Do you think the trans experience has changed?
trans experiences changed in their eyes, like the people that are, in their 20s to now?
That are younger, yeah.
That are younger.
Does it feel like it means one thing to us and something else to them?
I think the biggest thing that when you say that is that divide at how much privilege we have today, even though it looks really horrible. You know what I mean? Like there's so many sanctuary places today that you can go to where there wasn't when we were growing up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about you, but I had to move, like over the Rocky Mountains, like take a bus with all these runaway kids to Vancouver and to figure out how to do it on the streets. You know what I mean? Like that was the only way. That was our LGBTQ centers. That was everything. Even in the gay clubs, it was, it was cisgender. It was just, there was no understanding. So today there's so much more understanding and so many more places that you can go. So I think that we can lose sight of these privileges that we have today. The problems that we have today are the privileges of yesterday. Would have been the privilege.
Absolutely right. Yeah. And I think that there is a sense, that's exactly what I meant. And I just want to make sure I wasn't crazy. No. I think that there is a sense of this younger generation, and I understand their frustration and their anger and their rage, and I believe it's righteous, and I believe it's just. But I also believe, okay, every once in a while, we all need to step back and listen to our stories and where we came from, so you can find a little grace.
Yeah, because when they were coming up, there were already GSAs, gay straight alliances in high school. We didn't have that when we were growing up. I mean, you couldn't even be gay, even though in high school there were friends who pretended or experimented with being bi. I did know a few gay people. I didn't know any trans people, but I was a performer here in New Orleans and I had a band and I wasn't outed by the press. They used no pronouns, but I was 18 years old and I had gone to junior high school in Glendale at Toll Junior High, actually, as a boy in 8th grade. But I had to be completely stealth and terrified for my life and sneaking into bathrooms and skipping out of PE. But until this latest regime has come into power to make all of us fear for our lives, they had support and they had groups and they had, PFLAG and, GSAs that they could go to. And then all of a sudden it got shut down in, 2018, 2019, 2017, right?
Yes.
And then when the laws started rolling out, and I joined TikTok in 2022 with this song called Where Is Safe. And I could see the terror in their eyes. And I had to find parents to say, would you allow your trans kid to be in this video? And then it started to get worse. So yes, they need to look back with grace and a little bit of appreciation, please, because we did carve out some paths. I mean, we each had to go to doctors, had to explain our situation, had to see how to get hormones. And they don't even study us. I've been on hormones for almost 50 years. I don't know, not quite, but 40-something years.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
1979.
Really? Wow.
And I'm healthy.
I thank God. I feel like I love what you're saying, and I in no way mean to diminish anyone's feelings, fears, anger, or rage.
Absolutely.
But there is a caveat. You're exactly right, Lenny. Looking back, if we do not look at the history of who we were, we will repeat the history as we become. So we have to, and the reason the three of us are still sitting here is because we were able to navigate and we were damn lucky. We were
very lucky.
So we have to, and look, I think maybe 3 of my friends are still around, maybe 3, maybe 4. We talk about this all the time. And this, when the younger, and these kids that I teach that are LGBT, I still keep in touch with throughout the summers, throughout the years that they, because the information that I'm getting from that generation is, we're terrified everything's being, just what you said, Lenny, everything's being taken away. We're terrified things are going. We're terrified things are being taken away from us. And I have to keep saying, you have to remember, Angel, this is where we came from. We started with nothing. They're not taking away anything. You cannot erase the letter of an alphabet and erase a community of people. It's not the same thing. These people are walking around, these fascists, covering their own eyes and saying, "You can't see me." I mean, it's psychotic.
It is psychotic.
They're loony. They're out of their
And what
tree.
they've done is they've weaponized fear. They've taken a group of millions of Americans who've never met a trans person, don't know any trans people, or maybe they have, and it gives them the ick. And they've made us these demons when in actuality we know that it's the preachers, the cops, the teachers, the Republicans who are the primary essayers of kids.
That's right.
Yeah. And I look at it that I'm kind of glad that this mess is happening, because we're showing that we're also smashing the binary and what that's supposed to look like and stuff. Because, one of the reasons why I survived, and I always talk about my friend Tiggy that didn't, is because her secondary characteristics came in, and it's like, and she was, she couldn't be a stealth anymore. And it was, and let's face it, it's like the people that were not able to do that were the first ones usually to not make it and have horrible endings. And that's the thing that we need to stop. Like the whole, because we can get trans rights till the cows come home, but if we don't also talk about how there's about just going back to what going back to true feminism and what that there's no one way to look like or be like a woman, you know what I mean? There is no all that stuff. I think this is the huge learning curve that the whole world has to make, and I think the non-binary kids and the people that are the ones that are really in the front lines with this right now. You know what I mean? And the people.
You're absolutely right, girl.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely right. And I think, I remember, and I know all of us remember this, that when we first began our transition, you had to make a choice. You were either this or that. That was it, honey. And not only were you this or that, assimilation was key.
Yes.
You could not get caught.
And Marty talks about this a lot because not only that, under the Harry Benjamin standards of care, you also had to be heteronormative.
Yeah, all that stuff. And you were like gaslit into that and everything. Like I just admitted on the podcast the last episode that I actually at 16 I slept with a girl. Like one of my girlfriends that they were all these
you
girls
don't have your gold card.
You said that. I slept with a girl.
I slept with a girl.
How dare you?
I slept with
I know.
a lady.
I'm still talking like that because I was so programmed to be this Harry Benjamin fembot. You know what I mean? And we even shamed each other. And she's a queen. She sleeps with girls. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like we just had that headache. Inside our community. That's how fucked up it is. It's just crazy.
Listen, girl, I just had this conversation a couple of days ago. The show that I'm writing is called She, He, and Me, and it's been thanks. It's been written now and double written and rewritten now for almost a decade.
Wow,
it's been a long time. Well, but trying to get a trans-centric story made that's a musical that's about a transgender person is near impossible because, as we all know, show business is run by white cisgender
heteronormative men,
basically heteronormative men. So anyway, my wife and I met in 1976 in high school when at our drama club meeting, our very first drama club meeting. I was 14 and she was 16, and then we got cast in Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. And we've had a relationship. We just figured a couple of weeks ago, next year will be our 50th year of being
amazing.
It's amazing. Crazy. I mean, we can't believe it. But anyway, we've been married now for almost 5 years. She knows better than I do. But my point is, when we got married, it was illegal. Remember when it was illegal? Remember those days? It's illegal. You can't marry that person. Illegal. So we were like, yeah, well, fuck you. We're getting married anyway. So we did. And we invited all of our friends. We got married in in a theater because we consider a theater a very holy place. She's a director. I'm an actor. It means it lives in us in a very deep way. Most of the people that came were from our community. And most of those people thought it was a joke.
Wow.
They thought it was a show.
Wow.
Wow.
So they would come backstage. Now, this is my wedding day. I'm marrying this human I've known since I was 14 years old. I'm finally getting married. I had just been diagnosed. I had almost died. We had just been through hell in a handbasket. And so I'm backstage because we were at the theater. Chris-Anne is on one side, that's my wife, and I was on the other side. And every 5 minutes there would be a knock at the door, and Michael, who was my best man, would go answer it, and it was somebody else going, "Listen, do you guys need anybody to take tickets? Because there's nobody." And Michael would go, "No, it's not a show. Sit the fuck down." And those were people in our own community. They were so angry and mad at me and at Chris-Anne. Because how dare she? How dare she come into our community and pluck one of the trans women, a notable trans woman, a drag queen, out of our community and take her away? And how dare I step out of this box, right, of heteronormativity that trans women are supposed to succumb to and marry this woman? We were breaking all kinds of rules. And I'm telling you, even today, the people that get the angriest and most confused about my marriage are people in our own community. And they're mostly white, and they're mostly gay, and they're mostly men.
Figures. You know, and what's really crazy is you all have such synergy when you are together. And I know she's a little bit camera shy or doesn't want to go on, but you all are so fucking cute together.
She's the greatest. I did really well, though. I married. I did really well. No, I did really well because I've done a lot of dumb, awful, terrible things in my life to people, and this was the one smart thing I ever did. Truly, the one smart thing I ever did.
Oh, that's beautiful that you had her.
Can we do just a little bit of recent history and then some early history? I know you're working on the show that you were just telling us about. Really enjoying your memoir. It's full of laughs and it's also very poignant. This time for me.
Oh, thank you.
And the
This
show
time for me available on Amazon, and she reads it too.
I know, that's the best part.
That's how I had to listen. That's how I have to listen to.
Yeah, we don't read.
And
I think the story. I'm hoping the musical, which I will fucking fly to New York to see, and I'll bring Marty with me if I can. Is based on the book, right? In part.
Yes. Question mark. What we figured out, because when we first started to write this, it was 10 years ago, and the world politically was completely different, as we all know. And what we have found in the last couple of years is, because Chris-Anne is in the show and my parents are in the show.
Well, characters, right? As characters.
Characters, correct. As characters, yes.
They're not acting in the show.
Hilarious. No, but that would be hilarious. And Scott, who is my younger me, is also in the show. So for many, many years, the relationship between Scott, I don't have a dead name, Scott and Alex, that was what the show was about, who I was and who I am becoming. And then Chris-Anne, of course, this love story sort of happened around this transgender experience. So we did a workshop. This was so interesting. We did a workshop about 6 months ago in New York. And I invited, Laverne Cox and Our Lady J and a lot of other of my trans friends that are in the business. For the first time, by the way. No, there weren't a lot of trans people that had seen the other incarnation. And Lady J said, it's great. She goes, but we've seen a lot of this before, like the parents and, coming around and then who I used to be. And she goes, and it's great, but we've seen it. She goes, here's what we've never seen. We've never seen a transgender love story. We've never seen a trans person be loved the way you are loved.
Nice.
She said, and I'll never forget this. She said, Alex, she said, I will never be loved like that. And no one I know, no trans woman I know is loved like that.
Wow.
So that became the focus of the story.
Beautiful.
When she said that, everything shifted in me, and I went, now I know what the show is about.
Nice.
Because through this love story, the MAGA people, because that's who we want to speak to, can see this human fell in love with this human. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows how it happened, but that's what happened. And here's the wacky things that happen around them. And then in our community, it will, I hope, give a ray of hope to say, if it happened to me, I didn't do anything special. I did nothing. I just opened my flippin' eyes for 5 seconds and said, I deserve that. If I can do it, you can do it.
I love
So that's what the show is about.
Beautiful.
I love that.
And, you know, that's the thing. I think as trans people, sometimes you don't feel deserving of that kind of love, of that kind of acceptance. And we deserve it all because we're human. Not because we went through anything special or we were born with, as Marty likes to say, this anomaly, but because we're human.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we just come into this world with this a deficit because of the way that the world is you know, made up, the way that this binary is made up. And it's like, you know, I always say it's not I'm not dysphoric, because the world is dysphoric.
You know? That's exactly, girl. T-shirt.
Yes, that's
T-shirt
a good
time.
one. That's a good one. We'll split it.
I have always said that, I have always said that we live in a world, not a country, but a world that was made by, for, and to the cisgender experience.
And the cisgender male experience in particular.
Yeah. The
That's
patriarchy.
right.
Yeah.
The patriarchy. And any transhuman, however you fit in that container, from the day they're born, their lives revolve around navigation.
Yeah.
It's very rare that we can go on vacation. Like, we don't get a vacation from that. They do, but we don't. It's constant balance, imbalance, pile this thing up, make sure that that pile doesn't fall, put more money over here, grab the... It's constant navigate. It's like we're all in one giant I Love Lucy episode.
Yeah.
I love Lucy.
And the chocolate just keeps getting faster and faster.
And
totally.
And the thing that Marty was talking... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, and then it goes back to that question you asked me. It's where how, you know, a lot of trans youth today, they perpetuate the insanity, because I get it. You want to be as stealth as possible to have a good life in this binary, but it's like, but the goal isn't that. The goal is to bust that out so that we can be in any shapes and forms we want, any gender expression. And that's why I love that I'm a Canadian and that I am in Canada, because in 2018, in our Charter of Rights, not only gender identity is protected under the law, but also gender expression.
And that's how it used to be here, and that's how it is in most of the countries in Europe. And it's just insane that they're putting the clamps down on us here, because I'm terrified. I'm waiting to get my gender marker changed in the court here in Louisiana so I can get my passport, which in New York says male. My driver's license in New York says male. But in case I need to leave the fucking country. And so that's how it should be. And Cuba has even allowed people to declare their gender without having bottom surgery. And that's where my mother is from.
Yeah, the frightening thing. And Lenny, I wouldn't go anywhere for a while.
Yeah, I know.
I discourage any trans people from going. Just stay where you are. I wouldn't go anywhere because what he and his cronies, and by he we know I'm talking about DT. He's
the DTs.
The DTs and company. Yeah. They're starting to like roll down the hill like Jack and Jill, breaking everything they possibly can. Brains falling out, limbs flying. So because of this Epstein thing, they're now grasping
at anything.
They're going even more extreme. So any way they can trap us, they will. So everybody just
take a chill.
Yeah.
Take a chill pill.
True.
Yeah, because, they want to, and Marty, I know you are very up on U.S. politics, and I appreciate that because I see it in your social media posts, and you see what they like to say is, hey, Canadians, what's it like living upstairs from a meth lab? We're on fire down here, right? And
we're always nervous.
You're always nervous, right?
Yeah.
And so now what they want to do is they want to put mentally ill people in wellness camps, thanks to RFK Wormbrain Jr., and that would include people of the trans experience, and that's terrifying.
And they want to start. Identifying what they believe and what they're calling mental illness. He actually is putting out this TDS thing like it's an actual thing and thinking that he can make a law, which basically means this is how he's going to round us up.
Absolutely.
This is how he's going to round us up because the heteronormative cisgender far right humans have been saying for a long time they're mentally ill. They're mentally ill, especially trans women. We're mentally ill because it's all about misogyny. It has nothing to do with trans
because
but that's
what they're afraid of, and this is what, not to derail your point, but that trans women get the bulk of the abuse and the attention because
that's always been true.
Desirable in a way that trans men are not. And I don't take any umbrage at that. I mean, I'm on camera right now with two beautiful blondes women, and I love blondes.
Well, blonde. Blonde adjacent.
Well, and that's just that's the way it was, like growing up in the late 70s, 80s. It's like I felt like I was like I was Mata Hari mixed with Ava Brown or something, as sneaking through all the fascist communities and going to their parties and the club owners, and they're all like laughing, and I was like their token tranny that they allowed, and we'd go to fancy parties, and it would always be I'd always know I'd arrive, and then the whispers would start, and it's like but I'm so fabulous, and it's like dressed so well, and with designers and all that stuff. It's like I'm accepted, but I had to accept that the whispering that goes on and stuff, right, type of thing. And then I would find a benefactor out of all of them. You know what I mean? Like it's all, you know what I mean? Like it was so like sleeping with the enemy. It really was.
Well, let's be really clear about something, and this needs to be said over and over and over and over, and that is when we talk about the trans community, what we're talking about are trans women. And there's a reason, because what's the worst thing you can call a little boy on the playground?
A girl.
A little girl.
A girl.
Right? You run like a girl.
Yeah.
You throw like a girl. You sound like a girl. That's the worst, right? And the reason that's the worst thing is because we live in a misogynistic, narcissistic, patriarchal world, not country. World. Where the patriarchy worldwide has made all the rules, designed all the containers, and decided all the punishments.
Yeah.
All of them. Which is why in our country, decades ago, centuries ago, marriage was a contract. It was a deal. I will trade your daughter for my land. That marriage had nothing to do with
two
love.
Cows. Yeah.
And a couple of cows. So we have a history in our DNA about who needs to lead the country, which is why we don't have a female leader in this country. Who needs to make the decisions, which is why the decisions, even if they're pretended to have been made by women, always go through men first. And which is why women are relegated to nurturers, to being vulnerable, soft, helpless, and non-thinkers.
Right.
So the worst thing you can do is change from one container to the next, is sell your manhood, is make a cerebral decision to say, I don't want that card anymore. I don't want that power anymore. I don't want those ideas. I don't accept the container. Fuck the rules and fuck you.
Yeah.
And I'm going over here. And every human who either made the rules, which is the patriarchy, or learned from the rules, which is the matriarchy, rises up. And that's been happening for generations, especially in the United States. This is a westernized, uncivilized, archaic idea of how we need to behave as men, not trans women.
Yeah.
So what we do is just our presence triggers every emotional nerve in every unthinking human in our country that says, you know, this thing you believe in, this God or this spiritual idea or this book, this holy book, or all of the rules you've been told, you know that? Those women over there are telling you you're wrong. You're wrong about everything you know, everything you hold dear. You're wrong. And that's when they go to war.
And they want to kill you for it. They want to kill you for it.
That's right.
Because they feel so threatened. And look, they're trying to make women have babies and not have abortions and not be in control of their bodies and not go to college and stay at home and be the broodmares for our country. And it's just disgusting.
And what gets me is when our community latches on to that, because I said it before, you know, in just a while ago, is because I get it. You're in fear and stuff, and you want to like survive in this world. But by perpetuating that insanity online and saying, oh, it's like, you know, it's the non-binaries or these people that are like making trouble for us type of thing. It's like, no, it's like it goes right back to. Like I remember when I was like in grade, I don't know, I was in kindergarten or something, or nursery school, when the first time where they make you divide and say, okay, the boys go over here, the girls go over there. And all of a sudden I was confused. I was going, what's going on? Like, what's going on? All of a sudden my friends, like we were all different all of a sudden. And I'll never forget that feeling. And so of course I went wandering over, you know, with my girlfriends, and they went, you don't do that, Marty, you're a boy, you go over there. It's like, don't be crazy type of thing. And I lived in a conservative province too. And they were, don't be crazy. It's like, go over there. And because I thought to myself, well, if you're going to make me make a decision, I'll go that way. And I think that I would have had more of a non-binary phase if the world was more accepting like that, and I could have explored more, not only my identity, but my sexuality and everything. And I think I really lost out on that. And that's why I put they in my pronouns all the time, because I'm reclaiming that for my inner child, because my inner child was not always, I wasn't into Barbie dolls. I wanted a microscope for Christmas, or, you know, a rock polisher.
You were a science nerd.
You know, and I was a theater kid too. Yeah. And it was like, and I just, I was like confused, and I really feel like I was, because when I did this, because I'm in recovery, and when I finally did some inner child work, like to heal, I could never get in touch with my inner child. And then once I finally did this really weird like meditation stuff and everything, I started crying because I thought I killed my inner child because I couldn't connect with it. And then with this visualization and stuff, I saw in this meditation, when I was being guided, my inner child was hiding in a tree and was not trusting me to come down from the tree. And they had all of their little monkeys, because I used to put them in my T-shirt like a little pregnant monkey, but it was mad at me because I was ashamed of that, of the kid, because I've never talked about myself being, you know, brought up a boy, or it's like, but when I found out about non-binary stuff, it made more sense. And now I've had more of a relationship with my inner child, going, oh, you were just wanted to play. You just wanted to explore. Of course, you shouldn't have to think about that stuff. Like, you should be able to be whatever, be Mrs. Beasley, be Mrs. Frickin', you know,
Mrs. Beasley,
whatever. You know, all
the
those
kids won't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Mrs. Beasley.
Where did that go? A Family Affair.
I love that show.
I'm fucking
This
old.
is so of our era.
That was a doll. Oh my God, I wanted to be a doll all the time.
And now you are.
And while we're on the dolls, it's like now we're on the doll. Now that we're on the dolls, it's like stop with protect the doll T-shirts. Let's get protect the brick T-shirts, because the dolls will be fine. It's because they can pass. It's the bricks, and the people that are throwing those bricks at the binary. You know what I mean? Like, let's smash that.
That's right.
Let's get going.
I'm not crazy about that T-shirt, and one of the reasons I'm not is because it feels like a costume to me. It doesn't feel like a statement. I don't know. I've been around for a long time, and I've been an activist for 40 years
It's like
now, and
save the whales.
I'm a little bit. It just feels like, you remember that weird thing that happened when everybody blacked out their
Yes.
Instagram thing? I don't even remember what it was for. And I was like, why does everybody just stop
It
it?
was performative. It's
Shut the
all
fuck up.
performative, and also by
It
the
just felt
way,
really weird.
it's not that helpful because so many people don't really know what that term alludes to. If you're even if you're in the community, and you may not know what that term alludes to, but just let people be, let them look and dress,
Yeah.
and if there's trans butch trans women, that's fine, which
and I just need to say, the thing that you're talking about, Marty, is it's so important, especially Mrs. Pizza. It's so important because I'll never forget that as long as I live. It's so important because gender is performative. It's exactly what Lenny was getting ready to say. It's performative. It's not theatricalized, although it can be. But what we do every morning when we get up is get ourselves ready to be seen in the way that feels the most honest. And I believe, because we're all made of the same divine star stuff, because all of us come from the same divine thought, from the same magical place. All of us begin in the center of infinity, all of us, every creature. So we all have a similar idea and a similar feeling of what's true. We know not the truth, but our truth. We know it. And I firmly believe that the only way we lose identity, meaning we lose conversation with that voice, is by listening to everyone else. And that's what we spend most of our time doing as we get dressed. What will they think look good on me? What will they not make fun of? What will they think makes me look younger, prettier, more masculine, more feminine? What do they think? That's the first question we ask.
Yeah.
I really, and what you were just saying, Marty, was you began to listen to who you were before you asked any other questions.
That's true.
I urge every single human who's listening, every human, no matter how you identify, to listen to the divine spark. Not the thing you read, not the thing you were told, not the thing you learned, not the thing you've repeated, but listen carefully to how you describe you. I am worthy. I am beautiful. I am intelligent. I am kind. I am compassionate. I understand. I am curious. I'm a student. Listen to that voice, because that is the voice of your guide, and that will never lead you astray. Ever.
Love that.
I love that. That's got to be the clip for the week, because that's brilliant and so uplifting. And I just think of everything that we've all been through, and going back to that arc that we were talking about, what kids today, trans and non-binary kids or younger generations, may not be aware of, or some still have to go through it. But the fact that we had to do sometimes unspeakable things to stay alive, and things that put our lives in danger and that got us sick, and self-harm, whether it was drugs or alcohol or sex work, that we were so close to breaking out of that a few years ago, where families could get help and get resources to understand what their kids were going through when they were 5, 10, 15, 18, as being gender nonconforming. And now all of that is shut down and pushing people towards dangerous things that we had to do. Why is this repeating? It's maddening. It breaks my heart to see that happening again, because we were so close to getting out of it.
Just understand that the thing that's repeating itself is the lesson we still need to learn. All of us. not just the people that are the instigators. All of us need to be in reminder. And I guarantee you, money back guarantee, I guarantee you, as soon as all of us hear the righteousness, meaning the divine spark in all of these conversations, what's actual, what's true, and what's possible, and then believe it, not just hear it and understand it, but believe it, the pendulum will swing the other way. We are meant to listen. I know how terrible this sounds because it's so hard and difficult and triggering. We are meant to be listening to the voices we have ignored. And there have been many. There have been many. So we have to take a pause, all of us, and just go, what are they saying? What are they really saying? Not the name calling, not the language, what's underneath. What are they saying? How can we be of service? How can we help? How can we be a bridge instead of a wall? I guarantee you, once we do that, the tide will change.
It's true, because we saw this happen in the 80s with AIDS and with the gay population, and that's
right.
You know, it's like, oh, you can't even touch a gay person, you know, and it's like it changed. Now there's like, you know, it's just night and day now. So I believe this is our time to shine and heal. The light's on us, so it's time to. Yeah.
And I believe that the collective consciousness will coalesce so that this energy that y'all are talking about will see the light of day. I mean, I really do believe in that as I've gotten into my more woo-woo-ness lately, that we have to maintain hope and listen, as Alexandra said, to the voices that we're not hearing.
Mm-hmm. Deep breath. Send that out to the universe on our space machines to you, everybody that's listening to this. Love you. So, Lenny, are you doing the outro?
I am going to do the outro. We have been
Thank you so much, honey.
So fortunate to have the icon and divine presence of Alexandra Billings today. Yeah. I'm a little starstruck and a little bit hard to speak. My first introduction to her was the HRC speech, which stuck in my head, and then all the clips and music and singing that I've just marveled at, and the fact that we both love old Hollywood and old musicals, as does Marty. So we have a lot in common, but we really hope you enjoyed this very special episode of A Life Lived Trans podcast. We'll be releasing new episodes every week. If you want to support us, consider subscribing to our Patreon. And if you want to find us individually, you can find us at Marty Pants or at Detached Retsina, Lenny Zenith. And thank you so much, Alexandra, for being with us today. This was so special, and I think it was such a great conversation.
Loved it.
We could have just kept yakking.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
This could have been a 3-hour podcast for sure.
Blessings on everything that you're doing out in the world and stuff. And I look forward to, I'll probably reach out to you because I've actually got my first book deal with an agent, and I'm gonna be, that should be out next year. So any guidance on that would be helpful, because we've got to get our stories out there. Yay!
And then we have to have a touring trans musical act where we all sing and do like Bette Midler and Barbara Streisand.
Send me in, Coach. I'm ready.
I want to do a transsexual rock opera.
Yes, let's do it. Okay. Let's do it.
Done.
But you got to kick the door in first, girl. With your
okay.
You're doing so well with everything. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Love you all.
Love you to pieces.